Good evening and welcome to Primetime News on Mitv. I am Victor Daniels. In the news, the National Council of State, chaired by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has approved the appointment of Professor Joak O. Mobito as the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The governor of Imo State, Hope Uzodinma, announced these on Thursday while briefing the State House correspondent after the Council of State meeting. He stated that the decision was taken following due consultations with members of the Council, envisioned empowering the President to appoint the INEC chairman with the Council's approval. The Imo governor, however, noted that Professor Mobito, who is a distinguished scholar of law, an expert in the law of evidence, was described by members of the council as a man of impeccable integrity, exceptional academic standing, and a known partisan figure trusted to strengthen Nigeria's electoral system. The governor of Kaduna State, Uba Sani, who also briefed the press at the council, shed light on other deliberations in national security. He clarified that while the National Council of State is distinct from the National Security Council, the members nonetheless expressed concern over the country's security challenges. He added that the subsequent meeting of the Police Council focused on measures to enhance the capacity of the Nigerian police force to combat the crime nationwide.
The press, like you've been told, the National Council of State met this afternoon, were consulted, and took far-reaching decisions on behalf of the country, with Mr. President presiding. Among the prominent decisions taken today is the appointment of the chairman of Independent National Electoral Commission, which constitutionally is the duty of Mr. President in consultation with National Council of State. So in keeping with that statutory provisions, Mr. President today recommended to Council of State Professor Joak O. Mobito. Joak is a professor of law, as a matter of fact, also a professor of evidence. He's a highly respected scholar with impeccable credentials. And on the presentation of his name, Council unanimously approved and consented to the recommendation for his appointment. Speaker after speaker spoke glowingly of this professor as a very serious-minded scholar, a man of high integrity, and a tested and trusted hand who has never participated in any partisan politics.
Today, 9th of the Council of States unanimously is Dr. Aminu Yusuf from Niger State, as well as the Federal Commissioner representing Yobe State in Pasi, Tonga, Betara, Bularafa, who is also appointed today and unanimously approved by the Council of State. Today again, there was a proposal based on based on the recommendation by Mr. President through the Attorney General and Minister of Justice on the report by the Advisory Committee on Prerogative of Mercy to the Council of States for its approval. After the deliberation, the Council approved unanimously for the different categories of the prerogative of mercy. The total is about 175. Of the total, email recommended for presidential clemency were about 82. Those recommended for reduced sentence for their terms of imprisonment are 65. And those recommended for reduced sentences from death to life imprisonment are about 7 in number. So the total number is 175, unanimously approved by the Council of State as recommended by Mr. President and presented to the Council by Minister of Justice and Attorney General.
The Minister of Police Affairs, Senator Ibrahim Gaidam, further disclosed that the Council approved the restructuring of Police Trust Fund Establishment Act 2025 to remove the clause and transition the fund into a permanent agency. Additionally, the Council endorsed the proposal to increase the fund's allocation from 0.5% to 2% of the Federation account to strengthen the financing of police reforms nationwide. The Minister also said that Council also directed the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice to incorporate these approvals for onward submission to the National Assembly.
Prevention and public safety, strengthening capacity for emergency response and disaster management, fund ongoing training, specialized courses, and skill development, foster public-spirited philanthropy and private sector engagement, channel contributions through individuals, corporations, and civil society into police enhancement programs. The constraints we had in the police trust fund, the sunset clause of 6 years in the current act limits the lifespan of the Nigerian police trust fund and impedes long-term planning, thereby constraining sustainable police reform. And also, we phrase to the council that the deduction of 0.5% from the federation account needs to be reviewed upward to be 2% of the federation account. So we also phrase that the council should approve the refill and the reenactment of the Nigerian Police Trust Fund Establishment Act 2025 in order to remove the sunset and transition it in agency. Second, to approve, the council to approve 22% deduction from the federation account. And the last one, direct the Honorable Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice to input all the approvals of the council in the proposed executive bill. All these prayers have been approved without any omission. So this council abstained today. So I raise my case. Huh? Oh, sorry, 1% of the federation account and not 2% was approved.
The Council of State has approved the report of the National Honors Award Committee for 2024 and 2025, along with the special presidential awards conferred earlier in the year. Permanent Secretary Cabinet Affairs Office, Dr. Imanso Omobang, made this known, saying the committee reconstituted in 2021 and chaired by His Royal Highness Justice Sidi Bej Mohammed, screened over 5,000 nominations before recommending 824 recipients for national honors and 135 awards, totaling 959 honorees. Dr. Omobang notes both Nigerians and non-Nigerians who have made significant contributions to the nation's progress and humanity. Among those honored by President Bola Tinubu this year are the global philanthropist Bill Gates for his work in public health and veteran journalist Ahmad Yakub was also recognized for his role in strengthening Nigerians' democracy, adding that the full list of honorees will be released soon officially.
Approved the report of the National Honors Award Committee for the year 2024 and 2025, and the special awards that were earlier bestowed by the President from January 2025 to date. The President, in August 2021, approved the reconstitution of the National Honors Award Committee, ably chaired by His Royal Highness Justice Sidi Bageb Mohammed. The award of titles of honor and decorations of dignitaries is a yearly event at which the President honors deserving nationals and non-nationals who have distinguished themselves in the service of the nation and humanity. After the expiration of the last committee, another committee was set up. The reconstituted committee, which is to serve for a period of 4 years, consists of eminent Nigerians as members. The committee met several times, screened over 5,000 applications, citizens and friends of Nigeria for admission into the national honors. After diligent screening and selection process by the committee, a total of 824 successful applicants were recommended for the 2024-2025 national honors, and 135 special awards by the President, bringing it to a total of 900. Tinubu had conferred national honors on several deserving Nigerians and friends of Nigeria this year, including Bill Gates for his contributions to public health and humanitarian support in Nigeria, living and fallen icons of Nigeria's pro-democracy struggle in celebration of 26 years of unbroken democracy marked on 12th June 2025, Uncle Sam Amukapemu, a legendary journalist and publisher, the Ogoni 9 and Ogoni 4 honored posthumously for their environmental activism and sacrifice. The Super Falcons of Nigeria and the Tigers were honored for their international representation and achievements in sports, and Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, the immediate past INEC chairman, was also honored for his service to Nigeria's democratic process. The list of the successful candidates.
The federal government has instructed a tertiary institution in the country to submit a report of intervention funds from the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TETFund, that have not been utilized within the next 30 days. And addressing the heads of tertiary institutions at a meeting in Abuja, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, said the ministry has been faced with a dilemma over the issue and not been put to good use. He explained the resources that could have been used to develop infrastructure in the institution have remained idle due to avoidable bottlenecks. The minister also announced that capacity building programs will be introduced to strengthening the project management, compliance and reporting alongside the mentorship initiative, and while quarterly reviews will be introduced to track progress and compliance with sanctions for institutions that fail to utilize funds effectively. Transparency will be enhanced through a public dashboard showing the disbursement and utilization data, and institutions will be required to publish project progress report. Alausa also emphasized that the success of this initiative depends on a strong collaboration among stakeholders. There are strong indications that the presentation of the 2026 fiscal year budget by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the National Assembly may be delayed, as the Senate has insisted on receiving a detailed reports on the implementation of the 2024 budget before considering the new fiscal projections. And this development emerged after a closed-door meeting between the Senate Committee on Finance, chaired by Senator Sani Musa, the APC of Niger East, and the key economic managers, including the Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edun, the Accountant General of the Federation, and the Director General of the Budget Office, Tanimu Yakubu. He added that the committee would reconvene on October the 23rd to review the submission before allowing the presentation of the MTEF and Fiscal Strategy paper prerequisites for the 2026 budget. And earlier during the interfair, the Finance Minister Wale Edun reported in a capital budget implementations for the 2024 and expressed optimism about the 2025 fiscal outlook. And also speaking to the journalists after the session, Senator Musa said that the committee directed the finance authorities to submit documented reports on the 2024 budget, performance and expectations for 2025 capital implementation within 2 weeks. The Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Commerce, Ahmed Munir, says the 10th House is committed to transparency, inclusivity and people-oriented legislation for economic growth and institutional reform. Munir, who stated this on Thursday at a public hearing on 10 bills, said that the House remains focused on ensuring that every proposed law reflects a genuine needs for Nigerians. He explained that the bills under considerations must span multiple sectors of the economy, with provisions to establish a new professional regulatory bodies, amend outdated laws, and strengthening the operational capabilities of existing institutions for greater service. Correspondent Linda Ike reports that the bills were presented and deliberated on at the hearing, including the bill establishing Institute of Enterprise Risk Management, the bill for an act to establish a climate-resilient commerce in Nigeria, among others. But Chartered Risk Management Institute of Nigeria opposed the proposed establishment of the Chartered Institute of Enterprise Risk Management of Nigeria, describing it as a duplication of existing institutions with identical mandates. In a memorandum submitted to the House Committee on Commerce, the Registrar of the CRA said the bill seeking to establish the new institute overlaps with the functions of the already existing Chartered Risk Management Institute of Nigeria.
Establishment of regulatory bodies that will regulate the activities of practitioners and the institutions related to them. Some other ones are aimed at amending existing laws and strengthening the operational capabilities and the effective delivery of their respective mandates to the citizenry. Bills like climate resilient commerce in Nigeria is expected, if passed, to establish a framework for climate resilient commerce in Nigeria, promoting and reducing the vulnerability of Nigerian businesses in climate-related risks. Bearing in mind the global quest and activities around climate change confirms the importance of synergy between the legislature and the executive toward good governance and human capital development. As a parliament, we will assemble informed decisions and possible passage of the bills into acts. Bills will help to moderate potential damage, to take advantage of opportunities by giving teeth to policies that will guide these very serious issues, bedeviling not just Nigeria but the entire globe. This will reduce the long-term risk and hazards of climate change to human life, property, and society. Bills like this give the power and leverage to be partakers of global benefits and also other local benefits associated with climate change.
Importantly too, proliferation of professional bodies. The legislature has consistently frowned upon unnecessary proliferation of professional bodies, particularly where their functions and objectives are already covered by existing laws. Creating overlapping institutions not only leads to inefficiency, confusion within the profession, but also undermines the integrity and legislative process. My dear distinguished guests, you can imagine if you want to call Chartered Risk Management Institute of Nigeria, another is trying to call Chartered Institute of Enterprise Management Nigeria. Before you land, you are already confused. So this, in many aspects, does not reflect any value addition in nation building in Nigeria. Already, IFRIMA International Federation of Insurance and Risk Management Associations, council members of the Chartered Banking Institute of Nigeria include the Central Bank of Nigeria, NDIC, SEC, NEXIM, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria Sovereign Investment Agency, Bank of Industry, Bank of Agri. So this institute already covers all the, and when we got chartered, we're now able to do it. And I am glad to say that this is the second such certification in Africa after South Africa. So there's no void that this bill is meant to cover. Already we are covering it. And by last week, we were at the Institute of Risk Management South Africa conference. It's in the internet, everybody can see. We were represented.
Renowned Nigerian statesman Dr. Christopher Kolade has died aged 93. His family announced in a statement. The statement said that the late broadcaster died peacefully on Wednesday, October 8, 2025, born on December 28, 1932, in Iroke, Osun State. Dr. Kolade had a distinguished career as a diplomat, academic, advocate of integrity and corporate governance, among other things. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has mourned the death of the former Nigerian High Commissioner and elder statesman died on Wednesday. He was aged 92. In a statement on Thursday, Tinubu paid a glowing tribute to Kolade, saying he received the news of the death with profound sadness. The president stated that Kolade served Nigeria and humanity with all his strength and resources, and prayed that God would grant him eternal rest. And the Joint Action Committee JAC of the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria Universities SSANU and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions NASU held a nationwide protest on Thursday to highlight unresolved issues affecting the non-teaching university staff. The union stated that the protest aims to address the decades of neglected demands and government's failure to prioritize workers' welfare in universities and inter-university centers. Speaking to journalists during the protest at Yakubu Gowon University in Abuja, Comrade Nuruddin Yusuf, SSANU chairman and JSC leader, emphasized that the protests marked a renewed push for justice and fairness in the university system and after years of stalled negotiations. He noted that agreement dating back to 2009 remain unfulfilled despite multiple discussions and committees, including those led by the Babalakin, Yaya Ahmed and others, yielding no tangible outcomes. He outlined the key grievances, including the unfair allocation of 50 billion naira, a non-payment of 2 months' salaries from 2022, unremitted third-party deductions, and unpaid wage award arrears of 25% to 35%. Yusuf added that meetings with the Minister of Education on September the 19th and October the 6th produced no progress, prompting the nationwide protest. The Committee of Wives of Lagos State Officials, the COWLSO, has spoken at the year's National Women's Conference, NWC, to mark its 25 years anniversary. Speaking on Thursday at the briefing ahead of this year's conference, to be held from October 30th with the theme, 25-Year Legacy, Inspiring the Next Generation, the chairman of the COLSO and First Lady of Lagos State, Dr. Ibijoke Sanwo-Olu, said the conference has impacted and positively transformed the lives of Lagosians since its inception. She added that this year's anniversary offers the opportunity to celebrate and build on the legacies built by founding members of the committee and look forward with people as we pass the torch to the next generation. Participants are expected to attend the conference. Physically packed activities have been carried out by the committee ahead of the main event, some of which exercises, empowerment of vulnerable persons, and visit to orphanages and care homes. The chairperson, 2025 NWC Organizing Committee, Dr. Olayemi Oke, said the theme for this year's conference reflects our shared commitment to nurturing a generation of women who will drive a purpose, progress, and positive change.
Each of these engagements is designed to touch lives, foster community well-being, and reaffirm our commitment to social impact. In continuation of these efforts, members of Council will this Saturday, 11th October, storm Ikorodu Oga, they're expecting it, for our annual pre-conference awareness walk with the theme, Step Up, Show Up, symbolic walks, and amplify our shared call for unity, empowerment, and purposeful living among women. As a form of highlights to this year's event, the 3-day conference will feature carefully curated plenary discussions, interactive sessions, and exhibitions, each designed to stimulate thought, inspire action, provide practical tools for women to thrive in an ever-evolving society. The opening discussion,
Visionary Legacy. It is a call to action to envision a future beyond ourselves, to build structures and values that endure, and to inspire others through courage, innovation, and compassion. As women in leadership, business, family, and community life, our legacy is not measured only by our personal achievements, but by the lives that we touch, the systems we strengthen, and the young minds we prepare to lead within.
The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has announced that the Lagos Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwill Emefiele, over an alleged $4.5 billion fraud, made the ruling during the proceedings on October the 9th, 2025. Justice remanded more evidence against the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, in alleged $4.5 billion fraud. The commission said that the former CBN governor is facing a 19-count charge filed by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, accused of soliciting and receiving illegal, a separate three-count charge bordering on unlawful acceptance of gifts by Justice Marion Anani of the Federal Capital Territory High Court has adjourned the hearing in alleged money laundering case instituted against the immediate past governor of Kogi State, Yahaya Bello, to November the 12th, after the Economic and Financial Crime Commission (EFCC) called its secretariat Oluwafemi, a compliance officer with Polaris Bank. The witness told the court the total credit to the account in question, which came from a different senders, and adding that the transfer from the account were in multiples of 10 million naira. She said the total credit in November 2021 was 450 million naira, and while being cross-examined by the counsel to the first defendant with her bank, she admitted also that because she was not the account officer or relationship manager, she did not know how the transactions on these accounts were carried out. Welcome back, we'll take some stories from the foreign scene.
For 9 electrifying seasons, the eye never blinked. Because in this house, the cameras never miss. Season after season of extraordinary moments, bold game plans, power moves that shook the house, and romance that kept hearts guessing. Even then, you've seen nothing yet.
Welcome back in the foreign scene. The Gambian will hold its next presidential election on December the 5th, 2026. Officials announced on Thursday as President Adama Barrow's bid for a third term illicit mounting criticism. Barrow surprised Gambians earlier this year when he said that he would seek a third term in office. The move is allowed under the tiny West African country's 1997 constitution, but had not originally been expected. And after Barrow was elected in 2016, it was widely believed that Gambia would finally get a new constitution with presidential term limits. But however, lawmakers allied to Barrow's rejected a draft constitution in 2020 over a retroactive clause imposing two-term presidential limits that would have prevented Barrow from running again. And Iran on Thursday welcomed the Gaza ceasefire agreement between Hamas, which it has supported for years, and Israel, its arch nemesis. The foreign ministry said in a statement that Iran has always supported any action and initiative that includes stopping the genocidal war, withdrawal of the occupying forces, and bringing in humanitarian aid, releasing the Palestinian prisoners, and realizing the fundamental rights of the Palestinians. Israeli said on Thursday that all parties have signed the first phase of Gaza ceasefire and hostage release deal, and adding that the release of the captives would bring the end to this war. The agreement in Egypt follows a 20-point peace plan for Gaza announced last month by the U.S. President Donald Trump, and after more than 2 years of wars backed by Hamas in October 2023 attacks on Israel. The U.S. envoy Steve Witkoff said the American leader would travel to Egypt next week for an event celebrating the conclusion of the agreement, with Trump himself saying, and I quote, "I am going to try and make a trip over. We are working on the timing, the exact timing," end of quote. And despite the celebration in Israel and Gaza and a flood of messages from world leaders hailing the deal, the numerous issues remain unsettled in the negotiations, including the plans call for Hamas to disarm and proposed interim board of peace led by Trump himself to oversee Gaza's administration. Senior Hamas official Osama Hamdan said the Palestinian Islamist movement rejected the planned transitional authority. The scene stated Gaza within the 24 hours of Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu convened his security cabinet for a meeting that was scheduled to begin at 1400 GMT, the government said. And Russia accused Ukraine on Thursday for rupturing a now-defunct pipeline used to transport a Russian ammonia into Ukraine for export, releasing a toxic gas into the air. The incident took place near the frontline village in Rosyan in Ukraine's eastern Donetsk region. During the Ukrainians' retreat from the area at around 1:05 p.m. on October the 9th, 2025, the pipeline was blown up, resulting in the release of ammonium residents through the damaged section. The Russian Defense Ministry said that, accusing the Kyiv of trying to slow its advances, it posted a video showing what appears to be a cloud of a chemical compound spewing out from a source in the ground. Before the war, the Tolyatti-Odessa pipeline transported millions of tons of the chemical compound from the Russian city Tolyatti to Black Sea port in Ukraine. It ceased operation shortly and after Moscow launches its 2022 offensive. I will now take a short break. When we'll come back, we'll take some stories and sport. Welcome back in sport. Algeria secured a 3-0 victory over Somalia and qualified for the 2026 World Cup on Thursday at Wolfsburg's Mohamed Amoura netted 2 goals. Riyad Mahrez, who assisted Amoura both times, also scored to boost the win in a stadium in Iran and make Algeria the 4th African qualifiers after Morocco, Tunisia and Egypt. Algeria led Group G with 22 points from 9 matches, 4 ahead of their closest pursuers Uganda with just 1 match remaining, booking the 5th appearance at the global showpiece, crossing to the net in 6 minutes, and then the former Manchester City winger slammed the loose ball into the net midway through the opening half to put Algeria firmly in control against Somalia. Mahrez turned the creator against on 57 minutes, setting up a Mora to stretch the lead to 3 goals, and the 2-time African Cup of Nations winners are now coached by Vladimir Petkovic, who inherited the team from Jamel Belmadi following his sacking last year. And Monaco sacked their Australian coach Adi Hutter on Thursday and are set to replace him with Belgian Sebastien Pocognoli. The 55-year-old Hutter assistant Christian and Klaus Schmidt will also leave the club. The trio, who were hired just over 15 League One after winning 4 and drawing one of the first 7 matches, sitting just 3 points off leaders Paris Saint-Germain. They lost their opening Champions League match against Club Brugge draw last week. Sources claim that Monaco tried unsuccessful to reach an agreement with German coach Edin Terzic, 42, who was previously in charge of Borussia Dortmund. And Tottenham Hotspur majority owners have injected £100 million of new capital into the club, changing the focus on driving the long-term sporting success. Investment group ENIC, which is run by the Lewis family, the remaining 13.42% is owned by a group of minority investors. The former chairman Daniel Levy owns 29.88% of ENIC, but does not have any direct involvement with the club after stepping down from his position in September. The majority of ENIC used to be owned by British businessman Joe Lewis, but in 2022, he handed ownership to the Lewis Family Trust and is no longer involved in the club. And the Portugal midfielder rejected. Sources close to the United skipper have completely rejected any recent suggestion that he is ready to quit Old Trafford after the World Cup next summer and accept a Saudi offer. A report said that is not the case, and Fernandes, whose United contract runs to 2027 with the option of an additional year, is only interested in playing in major European leagues. As it stands, he is fully a long-term one, and sources of Fernandes is determined to put everything into helping United towards a better future, and while also believing it is possible to secure a top 5 finish that could earn a place in the next season's Champions League. And that's where we draw the curtain on tonight's news. I remain Victor Daniels. Good night.